the actual economy is goods and services. What is an economy? What people get confused. Sometimes they think an economy is money. Money is a database for exchange of goods and services, and for time shifting the exchange of goods and services. Money is a database. Money doesn't have power in and of itself. Like you can run the thought experiment of if you're trapped on a remote island, shipwrecked on an island, and you've got $1 trillion in a Swiss bank account. It's worthless. You'd rather have a can of soup.
This is a very powerful statement from Elon Musk. And one of the reasons why I brought this statement up is that I want to put it in terms of African context. When you look at Nigeria for now, you look at the two histories. In the 70s, Nigeria was doing quite well because there were few oil producing nations, and OPEC was literally dictating the price of oil and also the terms and conditions of shipping. So this means that oil producing nations under OPEC were really thriving, like Nigeria really thrived in the 70s. In fact, Europe was struggling, and the American economists were sent to Nigeria, and they convinced Yakubu Gowon, being the leader of Nigeria then, he was told that, okay, what you need to do is just borrow us money, lend us money, and your economy is thriving. They told me your economy is already thriving. Let's just lend us the money, and you will be fine. So Yakubu Gowon, Nigeria lent hundreds of millions of dollars to the IMF and the World Bank because Nigeria was really having a lot of foreign reserves. And this money illusion convinced Yakubu Gowon that so long as he has oil, so long as he's getting dollars every single day, Nigeria will be fine. So what happened that this money was now taken to Europe to develop some economies in Europe. Of course, we can't say that the European economy was primarily developed because of this Nigerian money, not exactly, but it played a huge part. Now, fast forward to the 80s, where oil was being discovered in Norway, United Kingdom, and also the Soviet Union wrapped up production of oil. And they even became the biggest oil producers in the world back then. So the monopoly that OPEC had instantly collapsed. And when this collapsed, also US increased interest rates. So this means that there were capital flights into the US economy, and this caused a global recession. Now, for the case of Nigeria, Nigeria was really struggling. Now, because Yakubu Gowon did not build physical factories, he did not build schools, he did not build state institutions, he did not build good road network that connects the local farmers to the city so that food can be taken from the villages to the towns. Even to the Nigeria context, you see that one of the reasons why we have inflation is not just bad economy. It's based on fact number one is that some farmers cannot get this food from the north to the south and the west, because the north is primarily where the north and middle belt is where the food are being manufactured and produced, like farmed. But the road is so bad that sometimes trailers stay weeks on the highway. Even food even gets spoiled in the process because the road is so bad. So this is one of the reasons that food is expensive in Nigeria. And not just that one, farming in Nigeria is mostly done by hand, mechanized, like just agricultural where you farm with your hand and hoe. There are tractors, but they are too few and they cannot serve a country of 230 million people. So Yakubu Gowon, who failed to build these state institutions and felt, okay, he had money, he was giving it to the West. When the rainy days came, what happened? Nigeria was now exposed. The irony is that Nigeria had to now go and borrow from IMF just to stabilize their economy. So you see the illusion of thinking you have wealth when you don't have the material things on ground to convert that wealth. Nigeria really was thriving. And even today now, you can see Nigeria on the news. Nigeria has overtaken South Korea on the COPSI index. Nigeria is actually the best performing stock exchange right now. And the real estate sector in Nigeria is booming. GDP is going to obviously increase in a bit. And interest rates, of course, capital flights are coming to the country. So foreign reserves are also high. So these figures you are seeing on the screen doesn't look very good on screen and beautiful, and economists are actually applauding the Tinubu administration, but in the ground, Nigerians are actually struggling. So this is also another issue with money as well. Yes, we have money in the foreign reserve, but this foreign reserve, Nigerians are not going to eat for meat. Nigerians are not even going to use it to build schools from it. It is just going to be there so that we can balance our trade deficit and use it as a way to show foreign creditors that Nigeria is reliable to lend money to. So it's more like a proof, more like a flower in your compound where you put it outside, decorate it so that people will get convinced that you actually built a beautiful home, but it does not translate that your house is messy. Nigeria is messy, but on the outside, people are having discussions about coming to Nigeria to invest, to come and put money in Nigeria. Everything is booming. To the outsiders that have billions of dollars to spare, but to the Nigerians on ground who have to carry this weight of economic collapse, it is not a funny issue, and in fact, it is a disaster. It is disastrous. So this is the problem with economic analysis, whereby they focus on the figures, the GDP, the foreign reserve, and all that. If you can use it to judge an economy, even if you have an economy that has a high GDP ratio, that's why even the GDP of Russia does not make sense, because on paper it's like the economy of Texas, but in real life Russia is punching above its weight. Russia is sending aid to different countries, so it is because Russia, they have the material food, they have the industry, they have state institutions on ground there, they have everything intact, compared to us here in Nigeria. So this statement is actually profound, really, really profound. And we need to look beyond economic figures and genuinely talk about reinvestments, building state institutions, and actually trying our best to build a solid economy that people can rely on. Because so long as we don't have industrialized farming, so long as we don't have research institutions, so long as we don't have sovereign firms, industries that can hire our people here, no matter what the quote in the GDP, Nigeria is never going to be a powerful country. It's just going to be value. So this is a very important lesson we need to learn. Thank you, and please subscribe to the channel.